So we're now entering the rainforest. The rainforest has beautiful layers of canopy that we'll see. So on the outside, again, we have larger walls of things like this bamboo and a lot of bananas on this side. And then as you come into the rainforest, you can see this multi-layered canopy. So over here we have some of our only annuals, vegetable annuals. And then slowly as you keep going up and up and up, we have just perennials, a lot of them leafy greens like the Katek and Chaya and cranberry hibiscus. And then we get into our upper canopy, which is mostly fruit trees. So this is the area of the farm that has the most fruit trees. We have a few cacao that are still alive. They die back though in the colder winters, which is sad for us. But here we have our largest of the Cecropia trees. It fell during the hurricane and during Irma, but we painted all of the trunks of all of the fallen trees so that we could come back around and hopefully stand them up and still get them to take again.
Nice.
Yes. And here's our second pond.
So for people wondering, I mean, that thing makes a fruit, right? Like nature's gummy worm?
Yes, yeah. So if you look up into the canopy, you'll see this little hand that whenever it is unripe, the hand is going to be facing upward. And then as the fruit ripens, the hand is going to droop downwards. And then the outside, what looks like fingers, are going to get really wrinkly. And what you do is you actually pull off that wrinkly finger type and you eat the skin, which is amazing. I wish that we could find some of those.
I wish we'd find one of those.
We have a bunch of hands that have fallen, but those aren't ripe. They're delicious. This is one of my favorite fruits.
Pretty unique, huh?
It is.
Is that a squiggle?
These ones kind of are. Yeah, this one's got nice liquid.
Whoa, what do we got here? Bring it on up.
That piece is probably good. It might not be as sweet because it's not.
I'm gonna attempt this. Nature's gummy worm. It's pretty sweet.
Is it pretty sweet?
I don't think there's any bugs. We're good.
But yeah, there's a lot, and I wish that this kind of the other Cecropia fell during the 100-year flood. You want a piece of it? And
what's right with it?
I'll take a slice.
The taste test here. What are you thinking?
It's pretty good. They were saying that they call this what was it, sugared lizard skin?
yes, lizard skin.
Oh,
Pretty accurate.
The texture is very lizard skinny. But it's so sweet and so delicious. We have a lot of papaya on the farm. Papaya is one of the biggest producers for us, especially in the summertime. But we do need to keep replanting them. We also do a lot of work with chaya. We do a lot of research with chaya because there's not a lot that's understood about it. But chaya is a leafy green that has cyanogenic glycosides in it, which is a cyanide compound that's toxic. It's the same thing that you find in cassava roots and cassava leaves as well. But we found that if you are able to chop them up into smaller pieces, it helps release it faster. And then if you always make sure to boil them before you eat the leaves. But it's a great source of vitamin A especially, and it's just a great leafy green that is extremely resilient. This crop can handle droughts and floods both, which is pretty amazing. We also have a lot of taro on the farm, and cocoyam. This is cocoyam. The taro is mostly in the lowland area of the farm. We also have cinnamon trees. I love cinnamon trees, mostly because I get to make cinnamon and curry leaf. This smells amazing. See if
I've been telling people one day they're going to have scratch and sniff, and you guys can check this out
there
too.
You go. Curry leaf. So nice.
That is powerful.
Isn't it? There's another tree. There's another fruit over here, or leaf over here. I don't know if we have any more of because we've been trying to get rid of it. There's one. See if you can tell what family this comes from. Right. See, scratch and sniff area. Ooh, I can smell it already.
Ooh. Oh, hey. Oh.
I just smelled the curry. What is this?
Yeah, now you're gonna have curry.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Do you guys know what
root
it is?
beer, right?
Yeah, root beer fruit. Yep. So
Yes,
that's the
I
root
smell
beer.
that.
Lost it, yeah. You getting rid of it, you said?
Yes, we've been
Yeah.
trying to. We only have it in the Thai kitchen garden now, so we can
Okay.
kind of keep it in a smaller. We had it here, and it took over this whole area where you see the velvet bean right now.
You guys aren't playing with this velvet bean. It's an aggressive one too, huh?
Yes, we like velvet bean during the summer because it covers everything and will keep us from having to weed as much. So it reduces our management, and so that's the same reason we advocate for farmers to use it,
Nice.
to reduce their labor. And it builds a ton of biomass that will then build soil organic matter in your soil. So for us with sandy soils, it's a huge win because we get an organic matter boost the next season.
You get the goats to eat it or anything?
The goats
Forage?
can eat a little bit of it, and they like it.
Okay.
The cattle are also allowed to eat a little bit of it, but they don't really like it. They'll eat pretty much any legume except mucuna.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's because it has L-dopamine in it.
So what is this, like the production nursery before it heads over to the retail nursery?
Yes, exactly. So this is our propagation region of the farm. We have a propagation manager, and she works with interns 2 afternoons a week as well, and then she's full-time. But this is where we propagate things off the farm, or whenever we get things, for example, from Josh or other people who will share some of the germplasm with us, she will grow it out here, see how it grows, and then we'll pilot it on the farm somewhere first before we continue to propagate it and expand it out more. So this is the area. We have a shade house for the more tropical species that need some shade, especially a lot of our fruit trees, avocados. We do graft every avocado, every star fruit that's here on the farm, every mango. So we do a lot of grafting here as well to make sure that everybody has a good product. We have a work team here this week. They came all the way from Indiana, and there are 21 students that are coming down for a week of their summer, actually a little over a week of their summer, to volunteer their time and energy and efforts to help us out on the farm.
Wow.
8 of them were helping me yesterday weed, and it was really awesome because we got about 8 times what I would have been able to get done.
That's huge.
Yeah, and Echo wouldn't be able to do half of what we do without volunteers. We have over 300 volunteers that come annually to volunteer their time, their energy, their efforts, their skills to the mission of Echo, which is really awesome. Some of our more sensitive species, of course, will be in here, like our cacaos or mame. So this is a closed environment, screened in everywhere. We do have one other high tunnel that's like this. It's screened as well, that will probably pass. But here we keep some of our more sensitive tropical species as well as propagation material when it's just been propagated, especially things that come from tissue culture. And then of course all of our transplants. So that's what we do.
Oh, vanilla bean, huh? So what's the
Keep track of
employees
everything.
around here? Like how many people does it take to run this ship?
That's a great question. The farm itself, the staff, we have the head of agricultural operations, and we have a farm manager who's in charge of all of the interns. But then we also have our propagation manager, our seed bank manager, and then they have one assistant. So our farm staff, on staff full time, is 5, but then there are 8 to 10 interns. And then sometimes we have an agricultural volunteer that comes to volunteer. Right now we have 2. So that makes us, almost 20 for the daily operations of the farm. But we also have a lot of technical support staff that are doing some of the extension work to our network and development of technical information and resources. And so they're another
So there could be like
12.
40 people working here?
I think we probably have about 40 to 45 just at our Florida location. And then of course we have impact centers in Arusha, Tanzania, in East Africa, in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, in West Africa, and then in Chiang Mai, Thailand. So we have those impact centers as well that also resource the communities there, and we have staff at those locations. But most of the staff there are nationals,
Nice.
with a few expats. To our right, also, we have a research experiment on 3-storied agricultural production. So we have maize and cowpea, and then we have gliricidia trees. And we're trying to control for shade. So we have one treatment where we have the trees as the shade providers for the annual crops, and then we have a control for shade, which is giving about 30% shade with the shade cloth. And then we have another control that's no shade.
The Glaracidia, that's another one that's good for like a living fence and stuff?
Yes, it's great for a
Okay.
living fence. Mhm.
Quick stick, I think they call it?
Yes,
Yeah,
you can
okay.
take a cutting and put that in the ground and it will sprout within a week.
Wow.
Yeah, at least here it does. Not everywhere.
That's good with cold too?
No, it loses all of its leaves. So
Okay.
in
It
the
comes back.
cold, but it will always come back. Yeah.
So it's deciduous every winter?
Yes, almost every winter. I don't know what temperature it needs to drop before it loses its leaves, but here we've lost the leaves pretty much every winter. But here in agroforestry, we have 4 blocks running north-south, and these blocks we are systematically cutting in an agroforestry type system. So the first block here, block A, we've just cut the trees this year, and we're sowing maize. So we just sowed maize this week as well. And then next year we'll harvest the maize, and then we'll immediately plant cassava. And then after the cassava is ready to harvest, most of the tree species, we will have selected the branches we want to remain, and it will be up over the canopy, and we will let it go back to timber production.
Wow.
So, and we will cut each of the blocks like that in a rotation. So next year we will cut this next block, this next strip for timber production, because we also pretty much almost everything that we build on the farm, we use our own resources. So we use our own wood if at all possible. So we'll cut that one, we'll put it into maize. So then next year this will be in cassava, that will be in maize. And then as this one's going back, the next one will be cut. So we do a rotation on these blocks.
Wow.
So this is our vetiver collection. We have different signs showing the different vetiver varieties. Yes. So this is where our vetiver is.
Cashew? Ooh.
Yes, cashew.
Ooh, I see a pretty silk floss. huh?
Yeah, it's just like lots
What
of
happened to the
it
bottom? The bottom
hums.
stays like that?
Yeah, the bottom stays like
Or is it
that.
grafted?
No, I don't believe this is grafted. It has some thorns, but they're just not as predominant until you get up the trunk a little bit. And it's so pretty. It hums whenever it's flowering because all the bees are on it. You just vibe, like you can just feel it. We have a small pollinator garden here, which is really nice to have a dedicated spot for some perennial flowers
Nice.
that are pollinator attractors. And then this is our urban garden. So we have a lot near. Right, we have a lot of rooftop garden examples using different containers. What do you do when you don't have soil? What do you do when you don't have land? So this is some demonstrations of different rooftop garden ideas. And then on this side we have backyard garden ideas. So here we have one of those banana rings, so we compost in the middle. We have sack gardens. We have lots of different techniques for using containers like kiddie pools or creating some platform to hold soil. We have some carpet beds too. There's no soil on those, it's just straight plants on carpet. And then this is a really cool technique that we're trying for like the first time, at least here on the farm. And here is water. You can see it vibrate and come out on the
a
other
wicking
side.
bed of type?
It's a wicking bed.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so this is one of our first wicking beds. We have one in the community garden as well. So you can feed the underground, the water body from here, and that will seep down into this and refill it. And then you grow on the top, which has about the cinder block height of soil in it. This is a Barbados cherry. It does really well with air layering, and so we do this as part of the seminar for the interns as well. But we cut down to the cork cambium. If I take this off, it's not probably gonna be rooted because we just did this seminar, but I can show you guys what we did because it won't be too bad. So we cut down to the cork cambium. This is kind of a long cut, but you cut down to the cork cambium so that basically this side, the shoot side that we're leaving here, you basically trick it into thinking it's underground. So you go down to that cork cambium where it still has undifferentiated cells, and they're deciding if they're going to be tissue, if they're going to be root, what they want to be, and that's all stored at our nodes. And then we put this nice moss on the outside that we get nice and wet, and we wrap it up. And probably in about 6 months, we'll actually come back and verify if this has taken. And what we'll see is an entire root ball will be inside of this little aluminum foil, and we'll cut right beneath it where the roots have formed and stick it in a pot, and then we'll sell it
Nice.
in the nursery. Yeah. Those are some of our air laying. Some other things we air layer. We air layer both our I believe our lychees and our long ends because they do really well with air layering as well. Basically, the main premise is use what you have to make what you need. So the resources that you have available in your context, how can you use those and kind of retrofit them or make them into what you're looking to gain out of your trouble or your situation that you need to overcome. So that's the whole premise behind AT. So you see lots of different abilities and working spaces here. Here we have a forge where you can blacksmith and do metalworking. We are really grateful. The anvil and the working station were actually donated to us, which is awesome. It increases our capabilities a lot. And then we have different working stalls here. So we have rubber working. Rubber is really, really big. In Tanzania, pretty much any hole that you had could probably be fixed by rubber in nature. And then we have a tin working area and a woodworking area. The bigger building behind it is the AT shop.
This thing's serious. It's some kind of hot water heater?
It's a water treatment.
Treatment, okay.
Yeah. This is our kitchen. So this is where we'll have group meals sometimes, especially if we're doing a big event, we'll have a stone soup day, so we'll make some soup in here. This is also where we process our sugarcane juice into molasses every year. So we'll harvest all the sugarcane off the farm and boil it down into molasses once a year. Yes, very fun activity. We have biogas digesters. We have one in the semi-arid demonstration on the farm, and then we have one here. Great resource for gas production. So basically, if you have livestock, you can make a slurry from their manure, or if you have kitchen scraps, you can feed the biogas digester that. And the bacteria that break down all of those wonderful things will produce the methane gas, which you can burn and cook on. When I lived in Tanzania, that's how we cooked every day. We have a clay oven. And the nice thing about biogas too is that it takes people away from the smoke of the three stone fires and cooking in a closed space with fire, which causes you to inhale a lot of smoke, which is really bad for your health. So that's why the biogas digesters are so important. Yeah, unfortunately, this one's really rusty, so we need to do a lot of cleaning. But you feed the cassava root in here, and then as you spin this, the grater grates it into a really nice texture and like consistency. I was pretty surprised with it last time I used it. We have some other appropriate cooktops. So this one is simply, you build a small fire underneath the bottom and channel the heat straight up, so you get a much purer clean, which is the same preface as our rocket stoves, which are very popular now internationally. And then in here we start kind of our appropriate technology marketplace, where you see different things that are more common in certain areas. So over here we have some of our cooking methods. So we have a briquette press with different materials used for making briquettes, our rocket stoves, and some different styles of how to cook without, again, with reducing that smoke inhalation. How do we cook and create a nice environment for everybody who's cooking and preparing meals for us? Solar cooking, how do you cook if you don't have any fuel whatsoever? There's some that can come from the sun that can cook your food. And then we have lots of different oil press ideas, and we're working with some network members. This one is actually made by one of our network members in East Africa, using basically just a candle and a really simple auger. You can press oil. He specifically built this one for moringa oil.
For the seeds?
Yes, for the seeds, which is highly nutritious. Some examples of farm tools here, including an SRI weeder. That orange weeder in the back is specifically made for that system of rice intensification I was talking about, because it has a wider spacing for the rice, so you can actually run a weeder down it instead of having hand labor to weed. Different ways for milling and processing your grains are exhibited here. Some of them bike powered or pedal powered. We've been doing a little bit of experimentation with different sand filters. This one was a sticky killer sand. We were working with a lab up at Penn State. They had extracted a protein from the moringa seed that if you concentrate it and put it on sand, they had a hypothesis that it would basically detoxify, including bacteria, which is pretty cool. So we've been working with them to see if we can make it work and at what size and dimensions you needed to
Nice.
construct it to work. And this is one of my favorite tools. So pretty much every day when I lived in East Africa, my mama would ask me to clean the floor, and this is what you used to clean the floor. And amazingly, I feel like it works better than our versions of brushes. So this is one of the best tools that I have seen. So simple and easy, but this is what AT is all about. How do you make what you need out of what you have available? Super fun. I still like doing that every once in a while, just to keep going, keeping everything clean over there. And then we have an aquaponics system here. We have larger fish and these 3 larger containers that are under here. And then we have scrubbers that filter out, that have bacteria on them. So there's bacteria, beneficial bacteria that decompose a lot of the muck and the grime from the fish waste. And then it goes through a second processing screen actually in here that's smaller and again has bacteria, and then it gets filtered out into our planting system where we have these floating beds. And this does really well with leafy greens and perennial greens we've found that are not too woody. So like our mints, it does really well. It also does really well with lettuce. It's a great option for here, or our spinaches over there. But not so great for heavy feeders like our tomatoes and our other bigger production crops. The water just doesn't have quite enough nutrients to support them, at least in this system. And we've been experimenting recently too with solar drying. So we're trying to create, that's a tent solar dryer. We're trying to create different types of solar drying technologies and techniques that can be made pretty affordably so that our farmers can upscale their production, increase the value of their products, be able to sell them at market for a little bit more.
Yeah. It's gonna be sour. You want to try it?
I like half of it, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I wish I was more engaged.
Sweet sour. It's good.
Ooh. Now, I've seen this in the grocery stores, the Asian markets. That was pretty good. Breakfast? Okay.
I like tamarindade.
You guys having to hand weed this peanut a lot, or does it just stay pretty weed free?
Oh, it stays weed free. We
Really?
just nip it with a weed hacker. That's
Wow.
what we do with this. And the peanut will come back, especially in the rainy season, more vigorously than any of the weeds will.
So the peanut's out competing the weeds.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
The only thing you'll see, and you can see it
On
right
the
on
edges,
the edges.
yeah.
Yep. Right on the edges, you'll get some of the grass species coming in, but that's about it.
It's pretty awesome.
So every once in a while, we'll come through with a hula hoe and just get these.
So you got the
extra ones.
avocados on the berm, I see.
Yes, yeah, they need to drain. They can't have standing water or even really any water in their roots. They want everything to be dried out after their rain event. Oh, this one's one of my favorite tree species that we have. It's so fast growing. There's a bee on it too. The strawberry fruit tree. It's such a fast growing tree. This one is less than a year old, believe it or not. It's amazing.
Yeah, they grow like a weed.
They do, and they create such a nice like snacky fruit. So it's nice to just stop and snack on them throughout the
Most
day.
people say they taste like cotton candy.
I feel like they taste like artificial strawberry flavoring.
Artificial strawberry flavoring, okay. All right, Stacey, you're gonna have to eat that one for us. I see the size of this Dakota Cava. Like, what? I've seen this whole entire trunk covered in fruit. And yes, I have epic memories of coming here for a course. They have a agroforestry course actually coming up here in July, so if I have time, I'm going to make that too.
Thank you guys so much for coming out and joining me at Echo Farms. We're here in North Fort Myers, and I hope that everybody can come out and join us, see the farm, visit our nursery where we have lots of different trees and fruit and other edible greens that you can take home with you. We would love to see you, we'd love to hear from you, we'd love to connect with you in any way possible. We have a website at echonet.org that you can connect with us at, and we'd always love to see you here at the bookstore and at the Global Farm. So if you'd like to come out and see us, come visit us.
Stacy, thank you so much for the epic tour of Pounder. All right, you guys have been requesting this one. I hope you enjoyed the tour here at Echo. If you ever come down to Florida, I highly suggest visiting this site. It's a demonstration site. You'll learn all kinds of stuff here about epic plants that grow well in this area, and you can buy them while you're here. It doesn't get too much better than that. So, like I had mentioned, this place was a catalyst for me, catalyst for Matt. Like really opened our eyes to what you could do with permaculture. What are the possibilities? So, highly suggest checking them out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. And most importantly, pound dirt.